So I'll provide a few strategic tips and then we'll get into some tactics too. SEO is brand building. If you build a great brand on the web, you can do SEO very, very well. A lot of content strategy revolves around, we're going to make content that is relevant to our current customers. I would urge you to slide further down. Not just relevant to potential customers, but relevant to anyone who interacts with potential customers. A lot of the things that help you in SEO are those interactions with press and with bloggers and with influencers and with media that are not necessarily your customers, but have the potential to influence your customers. Look at the channels, not just search, where your audience exists. And that could be a lot of different places, right? Vertical portals, forums, old school, forums and message boards, could be social networks, could be app store, could be mobile. Number 4, set up some good KPIs. Tracks our funnel all the way through. People who get to the website, people who look at the product page, what percentage of people get from the product page to the free trial, how many of them take the free trial, how many of them convert to being a customer, how many of them stay with us, etc., etc. And then looking at all the channels where those people come from. I cannot recommend this enough. If you don't have web developers who are devoted to marketing, here's what's going to happen. Walk into a business and it's great, I'm going to put together a report, and it'll give you a list of great things you can do to move the needle on your SEO, and they get that list, and it would sit there for 6 months, a year, maybe more, because no one was devoted to actually making the changes on the website. No one who did web development was helping with marketing. All right, last of my strategic tips, please create an incentive for the people who visit your content to share. This green circle represents the potential consumers of your blog or your site's content. These people in blue are content distributors. People who have accounts with social networks and share often on them. And then there's these super active people in orange in the middle there. If you don't have a way to reach these people and some incentive for them to take those actions, then you're going to lose out to a competitor who does. All right, tactical tips. Go after those keywords that get virtually no search volume. Tip on how to find them, use autocomplete. There's a ton of stuff in autocomplete that never makes its way to the Google AdWords tool, and yet gets searches, between 1 and 20, 50 times a month. That's a great way to go after long tail content. If you want to win with this though, you've got to have a lot of pages. A lot of pages on your site, and the best way to do that, in my experience, has been some form of community, whether that's a Q&A site, or a forum, or a blog where other people can submit stuff, or comments, whatever it is, user-generated content. At the highest point of the day, this is via follower work, 6.5% of my Twitter followers that are online. So it's good to know this, and it's probably very good to share things here, but it's probably really good to share things there, and there, and there. If I'm not sharing something 3 or 4 times in a 24-hour period, chances are I'm hitting a very, very low percentage of my actual Twitter audience. You can optimize other things too. My average click-through rate, when I put a link in the middle of blocks of text with no hashtags around it, has the highest click-through rate. Same story on Facebook and on Google+. See this? That's like the worst possible image you could get in a Google+ share. Looks terrible. And in fact, I don't even like sharing links on Google+ and Facebook. What I much prefer, and what works way better for me, is to share an image. I just screenshot the image, I cut it up in Photoshop, make it nice. Oh, I can almost see what's on this pie chart, these 2 pie charts, but I'm gonna have to click the link to really see them. Click-through rate here is fantastic. Resharing rate, fantastic. Use images. And while you're at it, use Bitly or another piece of software to track all the things that you share, so that over time you can look back and say, wow, this type of content works really well, this other type of content does not work very well. Leverage that video content and video SEO. Good story. So actually, we had a results set at SEO Models where we ranked number 1, 2, and 3 for a particular query, got some pretty good volume. And so because of that, the 3rd result, which had an image, it was like a Whiteboard Friday, right, had that video image, actually got more clicks than 1 and 2 combined. We use a service called Wistia, W-I-S-T-I-A. The great thing about Wistia is they will actually show you what % of people were watching at a given moment in the video, and they'll provide a lot of other detailed analytics. And by the way, for those of you who are hardcore into getting your anchor text, when someone embeds your video from YouTube, where does it point back to? YouTube! YouTube doesn't need any more links. But if you use Wistia, you can get them, you can control where the link points to, and you can control the anchor text of the link. So I get to decide where it points back to. When you are doing competitive link analysis, a lot of the times, for some reason, people are like, okay, here's who's ranking for my keyword that I want to rank for, and that's all that they'll plug in when they look for their competitive links. I would urge you to broaden that. Look way beyond your direct competitors and look at other people who are just in the sphere. News sites, even Wikipedia pages that are about similar topics often will have much better opportunities for links. Because the people who are linking to your competitors, it's hard to get a lot of those links. And depending on who your competitors are, a lot of those links are total junk, and I would not recommend getting them. Go to a service like Alta, or About.com, or do Google News searches. Find out what people in this sphere are writing about, and then do that stuff, right? What do they cover? So for example, I know that a bunch of the press and media in the technology scene in Cape Town was covering investment. So, if I were based in Cape Town, and this is relevant to your geography, right? One of the things that I'd probably put on my SEO Moz Cape Town site would be hey, here's a quick analysis of all the companies that have received venture funding in sub-Saharan Africa. Recently, someone from Google actually confirmed content on multiple subdomains may be interpreted differently by Google. To which I say, I'd like you to interpret it all the same. So I try and keep it all on one subdomain, if you possibly can. Just everything mydomain.com/whatever. Please make your websites beautiful, well-designed. Call to action buttons. A lot of times people do this, right? They do, this is buildingsguide.com, there's a great case study about it. It's pretty cool. So buildingsguide.com has got complete our form, our price code form, and you can go play golf, start the building quotation request. And then they tried a different version of it, working with some conversion rate optimization specialists, and they got 103% boost. Incredible, amazing. What they do? Remove the gray background and the line. We do this all the time when it comes to stuff that we buy, right? That gets a conversion action, but for some reason, we never do it with actions that a lot of us care about. Social shares, subscribe via email, embed this link, share. That kind of stuff can be optimized in the same way. I very much urge you to think about that optimization process. A few last words of advice. Almost everyone that I talk to who's started a blog, who started a site like this, they give up right around there. But not giving up is one of the most powerful tactics there is when it comes to inbound. I would also urge you to invest in places where your competitors are not. It's really easy when you get that, really? Only 500 Rand for 500 links? I can't go wrong. You can go wrong. Don't do that stuff. It'll catch up with you very quickly. If you don't have someone on your staff at your company doing SEO, it's going to be very hard to succeed. Even in SEO Moz, we have someone in-house full-time. I mean, a bunch of us know SEO, right? But we have someone full-time, all she does is worry about SEO. There's this weird idea in SEO that it's somehow like a formula, right? That if we got to get the algorithm and all the components right, add up the components in a certain way, and we'll get results. And it's not like that at all. That's what it's about. When you perform a search, what do? Always click the first result? No. You look and you're like, never heard of that, I don't know, no. Oh, I like those guys, I'm gonna check them out. Your analytics are gonna lie to you a lot of the time. What happens is that people come to your site via one channel, and then they come back, and they come back again, and then they make some sort of an action, right? They subscribe via email, they enter an address, whatever it is, and then they come back and make that conversion, right? They buy something, they do the thing you want them to do. And what do we all do? We have conversion tracking, and so we assign all the value to the last touch, right? Here's a mention on Facebook, and the guy came, and then he visits via a tweeted link, and a video from a search query, and a retargeting ad, a brand search query, and access, and then a conversion, and we assign all the value to just this one. That's insanity. If these didn't exist, this one never would have either. So if you're not assigning value, if you're not attributing value across the funnel using multi-channel, then you're essentially hurting yourself. Almost always, the person who gets hurt here is a person doing organic, doing SEO, doing social media marketing, doing content marketing, because those are where a lot of those first few visits happen, and the middle visits happen. That last visit will often happen from an advertisement or a branded search, and then the executives, the marketing execs sit down and they look and they go, branded search, all right, more TV ads. And you're like, ah! Last point. Right, the contents of the algorithm today are so close to imitating what people really want from search results that really you mostly want to do that. You want to deliver some sort of tremendously unique value that lots of people will want to share and will share, and you want to build a brand that people recognize for doing it. That is where you're going to have success. Knowing how to build a brand and market remarkable content to web influencers, that's going to bring you a ton of success. All right, you can download this deck here, and hopefully you guys have lots of questions. I'm happy to answer them out.